What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to be discussing about my opinion on Devpro versus Dueling Network, and I'm going to use some very specific examples that have happened to me, and well, they've happened to me and like I've seen things. It's mainly just general stuff between the two, and just generally going like what I feel is better and why I feel it's better. Now, my opinion is Dueling Network is a lot better, but that's because I play somewhat competitively in person, and I like the aspect of playing against people over the internet like you're playing in person, like knowing all your rulings and then having the response times, and if you misclick, being able to rectify that, which you can't do on Devpro, and that's very unsettling. Imagine if you set a Kirk RD by accident, cry hard. So one of the things I want to firstly talk about is not actually in my list of pictures that I've meant to load up, is this guy, Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Trees. This card is insane on Devpro, but not as insane on Dueling Network. Let me put this into context. I've lost games because of this guy. Like, my opponent realizes I'm playing worms and like I have to target, and they make this and they go from battle phase to end phase. During main phase 2, I am legally allowed to activate stuff. Like, even if they pass, just go through it. End of main phase 2 is a thing, that's just them passing turn player priority, which is good for me, being addicted to targets, having to activate things in main phase 2. The Devpro doesn't always prompt you to do things. I know there's like the, you can hold down A and it tries to force things, but not always does it work well. And I find that annoying, because it's like, yeah, I just want to compulse this, or flip a Jaeger, or whatever. Yeah, and another thing is this fantastic chart, which is fantastic. If you're unaware of what this is the fast effect chart, which basically shows you what you can, what you cannot do. Yeah, if you can read this, then you kind of get it. So it just says, well, the thing I'm really going for in this is, at the end of a chain, when the chain's resolved, the turn player has priority to activate a fast effect, something spell speed 2 or higher. If they do not have anything, then you can pass turn, you pass priority, not pass turn, that'd be crazy, pass priority, and then the opponent can activate something spell speed 2 or higher. Now, I've used this to my advantage against Infinities when I was playing Spellbooks, because I played a Wisdom. When they played Launcher, I chained Wisdom. So then after that resolved, I was like, okay, Fate, Banish Free. Get rid of that Launcher, now you have nothing. I'm good, you're not so good. Continue playing. So that was fine for me. You can't do that on Devpro because it doesn't have to have this scripted in. There are just a lot of things that are unscripted on Devpro that just kind of annoy me as a guy who likes to play somewhat competitively and play a lot in person. Other things are just like, you can activate traps in your opponent's draw phase and your opponent's standby phase, but Devpro only allows specific ones. Like, I've noticed Devpro allows Imperial Iron Wall to be activated, draw phase, standby phase, main phase, all of them. But when you're playing against like Infinities, you don't want to play Imperial Iron Wall. Well, I guess you could want to, but that's not the best idea. When the Infinity player draws a card, you are allowed to respond. Well, yeah, you can respond to them drawing a card, kind of. You can just play traps in their draw phase, but if they pass priority, and their standby phase if they pass priority. But Devpro doesn't recognize this. Devpro doesn't promise. And I find that annoying. But Devpro's good for things like rulings and whatnot. The only problem that I find really is that with Devpro, if I want to test out a specific ruling, I have to make this really random deck just so I can have that. What was it? I actually did make a deck which was entirely based on draw power and 3 DD Crows, just to test, like, what happens if I DD Crow Bridge Incarnation target? They don't get any of their monsters. And I had to do this with a friend, and it was so annoying because it took a while. But yeah. Devpro's good for rulings and tag duels. I love tag duels. But as you saw, like in my video on Monday, you don't always get partnered with the best people. There aren't always the best people on Devpro. If you figured it out already, I'm talking about Devpro, and then I'm going to move on to Dueling. Now I'm going to like say why I believe Dueling is better. All good time, guys. All good time. So like, this is not the best players on Devpro, and a lot of it is just very automated, and it really feels like I'm playing one of the Yu-Gi-Oh games like Tag Force or something. But you know, that's fine. That's fine. I understand, like, it's more for people who don't want to have to deal with the bad players on Dueling Network, which, if you play enough, you don't have to see them ever, and that is wonderful. The waiting for an admin on Dueling Network is actually really annoying and long, and some people don't understand rulings for cards that they have, and so you have to wait for an admin just to tell them. Just for the admin to tell them they're wrong and you are right, and you're like, life. So that's good for Devpro, having the rulings all put in. But I don't feel it's like good for anyone who's trying to get better at the game, trying to be competitive or anything like that, because it's just, at the end of the day, you're just playing on something which kind of shows you what you can and cannot do. You're not learning, you're just memorizing, which can be argued as you're learning, but you know, it's not you thinking about it, and because it's all just there, and it says, oh, you can do this, you can't do this, and it's, if you mess up, then you've messed up and there's not much you can do, and it's like, if you set a card ID by accident, then cry hard because you've lost that card ID's drawing ability. So we're gonna move on to Dueling Network now, because I think I've done Devpro. Devpro I actually find more bad players on than Dueling Network. Like, I can't tell you the amount of good players I found on Devpro because I don't keep track of that, because I can't, like, it's less than a handful, there aren't that many than I've played on Devpro, and I think one of the things I really like about Devpro is tags. Another is the saving of replays. It's wonderful. Okay, Dueling Network, let's go. Bad points are like, waiting for an admin is terrible. Because it's very manual, there are rules on there, and your opponent can abuse the rules to give you a game loss, or even a ban. If you follow Yu-Gi-Oh! Memes 2.0, you understand what I mean by that, and I will go over that a bit later. But yeah, like, your opponent can use the rules to their advantage, and that's just frustrating because, you know, you shouldn't really be like that. You shouldn't take it too seriously, but some people do. Rating is everything. What I said, bad players, abusing rules, rating is everything. Waiting for the admin is always annoying. Bad players are always annoying. What I really like about Dueling Network is how it feels like I'm actually playing, like, in person. You can communicate with the opponent, you can choose not to. Some people don't talk, like, at all for the entire duel, and, like, I can't handle that. Like, I need to know that my effects are going through, I need to make sure everything's fine, and all of that. So, you know, it's all good for me. And I guess. I like to have fun. I like to have fun in this game, and it's kind of awkward in a competitive scene, because it's not always about fun, it's about being serious. But if you have fun playing competitively like I kind of do, then it's all good, right? Yeah. Dueling Network apparently has a lot more better players. Like, I feel it has a lot more better players. I mean, like, the top rated people are good. There's no doubt about it. Like, there's just no doubt about it. They're good. And I don't know, I played against a few, I beat a few, lost to a few. I did play against 902 once, if anyone ever saw that. Back in Dragon Ruler format, he got so salty at me, it was crazy. But anyway, enough of that. Like, he's a good guy. Like, don't be mean to him. Or do, I don't care. He's alright. But yeah, like, the people on Dueling Network, like, you can have some real trolls and people who are just there to be annoying. But I do love the chat in the duels. I love the watching of them. The watching of them on Dueling Network is different to the watching on Devpro. Devpro allows you to see the graveyards and banish zones, but Dueling Network doesn't. Dueling was like watching in person, like, you know, you're not really meant to see what the players have in their grave unless, like, they slide out their grave, and, you know, it's all on show. But yeah, I just feel like Dueling Network's like more solid as a system, as a site, than Devpro is as a system. Devpro is certainly good if you aren't looking to become competitive, if you're looking to become a lot better. If you're looking like to understand rulings of a deck or just rulings in general, like, yes, Devpro is for you. If you're trying to play for fun, then Devpro is definitely for you, because you won't run into the best decks in Devpro a lot. Dueling Network, you'll find them all over the place. Like, I don't know, I played so many Geargear players that I'm like, it's Geargears. Then I'm sorry, but I can win against most of them. I'm questioning, is it the deck that's underperforming, or is it the people that are underperforming, or what's going on? But I want to bring back the point that rating is everything. Okay, so this is a thing that happened. Possibly he was playing against Giovanni, possibly he activates Infinity Launcher, then he chains Infinity Break. Now, with Infinity Launcher, the sending of this card is a cost. Possibility has been playing Infinity for so long that he should know this, and he should have told Gio that was the case, and that chaining Infinity Break is fine to banish the same launcher. However, Gio didn't know this. Gio doesn't play against Infinities enough, I guess. But whatever. So Giovanni took game 1 because of this. There's an accepted game state. Possibility claims, yes, it's an accepted game state, but you cheated, so that's breaking the rules. You get a ban, and that's just really bad sportsmanship, in my opinion. In my opinion, I'm sure a lot of others, because it kind of just really is. You beat me game 1, I'm not gonna win this, you lose, because bans. I saw like the admin ban Geo, and like, I'm pretty sure the admin didn't want to do it because it was total BS and everyone knows it. And that's just some things that can happen on Dueling Network. You can get constant messages from people trying to offend you. You can run into the worst players on Dueling Network, and that can be time consuming, and I understand that. But you can also run into the worst players on Devpro, and I have an hour-long video showing that Devpro players aren't always the best. If you are playing on Devpro, then it's your choice. I don't consider anyone anyone who plays competitively to play on Devpro, but I could be wrong. Like, I feel like Dueling Network is a place to be if you're trying to be competitive, and Devpro if you're trying to have fun. But that's my opinion. That's why I think Dueling Network's so much better, because it's not Devpro's fun aspect, it's more of a, I want to be better, I want to be good. And it's just like playing in person, and like it gets over the things you can't do in Devpro, like with the over the trees, wherever he may be, there he is. Or don't forget the fast effects, like the one I mentioned, like after chain results. After chain, does this activate a triggered effect? Did it? No. Template can have a fast effect? Pause. Opponent can do it. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, it's just like things like this kind of annoying for Devpro. Like when you lose games to something that you should be able to do, but Devpro says no, I ain't gonna prompt. That's ridiculous. And it's like, this was Dueling Network. It went so easy. And that's really why I don't like Devpro. I mean, you don't get to play with like the best players in tags, you would pick in randoms. You never face like the best of players. Like I can't tell you the last really good player I ever faced on Devpro. I just can't. But like with Dueling Network, like it's like, yeah, drinking a roll of format, I play against 902. 902's undoubtedly a really good player, and you know, I picked up a few fans for that, and that was wonderful for me. But you play enough Dueling, you play against a lot of decent players, and sometimes you even play against them 4 times in a row. That's crazy. But what I'm really trying to get at is like, my personal opinion is Devpro is if you're having fun, Dueling Network is if you're trying to be competitive, if you like to play in real life. I like to play in real life, I like to be somewhat competitive, and that's why I like Dueling Network more. It's better to test against because there are more players of your skill level and higher. You can kind of get the skill level of a player by their rating, but rating isn't everything in a game. I mean, you guys watch me play, I believe I play well about 90% of games. Even higher than that, actually. I feel there's like only like minimal times when I don't play well. Sometimes I don't play well. Sometimes I actually purposely mess up when I realize like I'm not gonna win this. If you tuned into Giovanni's Dueling stream the other night, I actually did this against him. He was playing in Zectors, I was playing Worms, and he took game 1, like he was gonna win game 1 anyway. And then, you know, I just like, you know what, let's just mess up, let's go crazy. Because A, it's like, I'm not gonna win, I might as well do something silly. B, he can teach people that's watching the stream, don't do this, this is bad, and they can see why it's bad. It's a learning experience all around. Yeah, I took game 2. Yeah. He says he could have won, but you know, I could have gone either way. No, I'm kidding. He couldn't have gone either way. He said he could have won because he had a second breakthrough. The only thing I would have done is stopped his one being banished, but I had a breakthrough because he was going to summon. What's it called? You know, the one guy, Mathematician, send Dragonfly, and then Soul Charge. I was going to break through skill the Dragonfly, as you do. But you know, it's all good. So, I would have probably taken game 2. Anyways, we ended 1-1, and he continued to stream. And then, like, the next day he got banned, and that's really unfortunate because, you know, attributing that to use break in the same chain link, no, that's not right. Attributing launcher and then chaining break, banishing the same launcher. There's a video of the entire video of it's like that, like from the start of game 1 to Geo getting banned. Ridiculous. So I'm gonna go back to this screen and finish this off by saying I hope you understand what I'm trying to say in this video, that Devpro is for fun, doing this for competitive players and people who like to play real life. What I really mean by this is like, you get to a point where you're playing in person where it's, if this was Devpro, you couldn't do X and Y, you couldn't activate things in the main phase of 2 or draw phase, and and that's probably why I like Dueling Network more. Also, the fact that you can add friends on there, and it's like it's really easy to see if they're online. You can talk to people really easily. Like I've even spoken to, you know, Billy Brake and Patrick Hoban from Dueling Network, and I thought that was quite cool. And I've spoken to Vexicus for 666 for Dueling Network as well. funny experience there. Oh god. If he ever sees this video, I'm sure he might know what I'm talking about. Hashtag VexSteven. He'll know that. But yeah. It's just like playing on Dueling Network, it feels like I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But playing on Devpro feels like I'm playing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. If you can understand this, then you can understand why I feel like Dueling Network is better, I believe. Just simply because it's like, Devpro feels like a game, Dueling Network feels like Yu-Gi-Oh! And the admins are like judges, they're better, because I've had some pretty BS judges. Like the one judge who was like, oh no, you can't monster reborn a fossil diner, and her second judge came over and was like, what are you on about? And they had to go and look up the ruling for it, and I'm like, why? Why is this an issue? You know, I thought it was crazy, but you know, things happen. It must be tough to be a judge, actually. I'd like to be a Dueling Network admin sometimes, and then sometimes like I don't want to be it. Because, like, the amount of people who would just be like, oh, there's a Mistina game, would be overwhelming. I'd soon find it very stressful. It's like when I was at regionals and I was playing at Snowball Knights, I'm playing Spellbooks, and I'm like, okay, I Fate your monster, and he's like, okay. No, I'm like, okay, I activate Fate, banish free, get a banish one card you control. It's like, okay, which one? I'm like, oh, this doesn't target. He's like, okay. So what card do you banish? I'm like, do you have a response? He's like, no. You tell me what you want to banish, and then I respond. I'm like, that's not how this card works. And he calls a judge, and the judge is like, that's not how that card works. He doesn't have to tell you what he wants to banish. You respond or you don't, and he banishes. Good times, good memories. But yeah, it's just, in my opinion, there are a lot more bad players in Devpro than there are Dueling Network. And the more you play Dueling Network, like, if you play all the bad players, well, you can't play all the bad players. Like, you go from 100-0, and then you win, you play someone who's, like, doing better than 100 zeros or 99 whatevers, and you just go up and up, and you eventually get to a point where you don't play any bad players ever. And that's fantastic. Like, I love that. But right now, like, on my account, because I got the 420 match rating, I'm keeping that until July 13th, and then on my alt account, like, I played against a geekier player, and he wasn't that good, but you know, it all helps. So, my opinion is, Dueling Network is better. You may not agree with me, but that's fine. So, you know, just comment down below which you think is better and why you think it's better. Obviously, you know, I think Dueling Network's better because it feels more like actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Rather than Devpro's automated system, which I do like an automated system because it deals with rulings easier, but also I don't like it because it just feels too much like a game. Like, I don't know. It's like I could pick it up and then play it on the PSP and then turn it off and be like, okay, I can play it whenever. It doesn't matter, it's just a game. Whereas like you play in Dueling Network and it's like, okay, this is like I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! This is like I'm playing with friends. Yeah. You know, that's just my opinion, so comment down below what you think. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't, because you should. Because I don't know, why not, eh? Do it. Share with friends and all of that good jazz. And I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.